Hello, and welcome to our Cyber in the Spotlight series, a virtual venue where Hayes invites cybersecurity leaders from across the globe to discuss the latest trends as well as the challenges they face in their field. I'm Mike Beaupre, head of cybersecurity at Hayes, and today I'm excited to be sitting here with Deepayan Chanda. Deep is a principal cybersecurity architect for Lab49, a financial services company that designs innovative technology solutions and strategic partnerships in financial markets. Lab49 is an established partner in global financial markets and has delivered hundreds of projects to prestigious clients, which include all of the world's tier one investment banks. Now, Deep is not only the principal cybersecurity architect for Lab49, he's also a board advisor to several companies, serves on international cyber committees, and he is an accomplished author. Deep, welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you with us. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do and how your path as a technical expert in the domain led you to where you are today.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you so much for inviting me for this talk. And yeah, you really did a great job with the introduction. So I'm a security evangelist and been in the cybersecurity space for a little over 2 decades. Like you said, I'm board of advisor to a couple of startups. One of them is Binalize, which is a live enterprise forensics platform, which provides speed, scalability, and automation capability from a digital forensics readiness point of view. The other one is Flexible IR, which helps companies to be prepared for cyber attacks and providing platform to build state-of-the-art playbooks and practice them over real-time security drills, which is very crucial these days. The last one is Wobbly, which is a very interesting startup and founded by an industry veteran, Vikas Malhotra. Wobbly is, having a vision to transcend the way digital experiences work into a more trustworthy and sustainable form through self-sovereign identity, which will be more safe, fair, and trustworthy. I also help organizations to implement right set of security strategies, architecture, and governance while I work as a principal cybersecurity architect. And last but not the least, like you did mention, that I have the privilege of publishing a couple of books, and also reviewer of multiple security books, whichever gets published these days. So yeah, that's all about me.
Thank you so much, Deep. Your breadth of experience, your deep technical expertise, the international flavor, and all the different companies that you're supporting is extremely valuable. And I'm looking forward to hearing what kind of insights you can share with us. Our first question is kind of about the geopolitical landscape we see today. COVID-19, an IoT revolution, the race to 5G, cloud-centric strategies, and of course, cybersecurity being used to support global conflicts. They've all had this economic impact and political impact on the world in general. And what we'd love to know from you is how world events like these have influenced the cyber risk profiles of organizations. What have you seen there?
Well, I think you have raised a very interesting question, right? And these are really interesting events, to be honest. But eventually, I do see a common best connection that has emerged due to all of those events. That is the massive rate of transformation, digital transformation that's happening, right? It's really undeniable, the digital transformation that's happening today. One of the event giving rise to the another, and some are even deeply connected. Like one thing that I'm sure many would agree that pandemic gave rise to massive adoption of cloud technologies, and that happened almost overnight. At the same time, this has happened with IoT also. The IoT also has expanded almost exponentially because uh, everybody was remote, so they have to do remote monitoring or remote management in certain sectors, industry sectors, which is heavily dependent on sensors and rest of the IoT-based technologies. So yeah, that also expanded a lot. While all these digital transformation is really good for any business, however, I think security professionals would really tend to agree that the security risks has also increased at the same time. And that is due to the rise in digital surface area. So some of the challenge areas are like, granular identity management to cloud security versus say, data security, monitoring and response, then endpoint and mobile security. And these areas are more complicated than ever because of the mass enablement of remote workforce. And I think that also happened cataclysmically during this pandemic and all these global changes that's happening. So there are many other challenges, but I think these are top of the line. Also, at the same time, I think to have a better security posture or profile, it will really depend on the ability to minimize risk exposure at all stages of transformation. And this transformation that's happening during and after stages, right? So the posture has to be looked at all these stages. So this can be approached through many different ways, as we know, right? You can approach to a problem through all different ways. So however, I feel that focusing on strategy, proper architecture and design, that will be crucial because that will not only identify and fix risks early in the process, but it will also allow to create a more resilient and sustainable system. And I think I like to repeat myself, resilient, because in my view, security should not suffer due to any sudden environmental changes. Like economic or political event, whatever is happening all around us. Systems should be built secure by default. And to handle that kind of situation, we should always be ready. That's given, right? So yeah.
Now, those are great insights and fantastic topics you brought forward, Deep. I mean, we have this this rapid acceleration of the remote work model leaped us 10 years ahead of where we planned to be. As you mentioned, almost overnight, we had to address the corporate network no longer being just corporate, but extending out in a much broader area. So the scope of architecture increased dramatically. Access techniques, this resiliency topic you mentioned. Not only must we be resilient in our corporate networks, but we also must be resilient in our home networks and in our approach. And I really like how you focus on this key aspect that regardless of the political environment or what's happening around us, resiliency is this common underlying theme. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah, that's perfect. Because see, resilience is very simple in my terms, right? If something happens, how quickly I get back to normalcy. So that's how resilience is looked at, right? So I think resilience is very important in cybersecurity.
Now that's such a salient point. And so, as you also mentioned, we have this massive exponential increase in attack surface. And so our efforts have increased dramatically, and kind of brings us to a next question we have for you. Over the last 2 years and all these things we talked about, what trends have you experienced with reporting cybersecurity incidents, and how has this affected the industry?
It's really fascinating how the whole notion of reporting incidents to regulatory authorities have really changed over time. This has been changing at a global level, not just one country or one region. So this has been happening all over the world. Like lately, what we know as a fact that this reporting structure could range anywhere between 72 hours to 6 hour window. And I think the 6 hour window is where India is bringing out, I know for sure. and there has been a lot of debate going around that how can we go back and respond within 6 hours. So that's a separate debate that is happening at a daily basis. So you see, different countries have different ways to look at it, and I think there is no harm in doing that because everybody has their own ways and mechanisms to look at things. So while this may be good in terms of making the organizations responsible and accountable towards the regulators, uh, but the challenge part that I see is like it's not that simple to report in a set frame of time because incident response is a very complex process and it really takes time. It has got a lot of moving parts, and I think we both will agree that uh, from the time it is detected to the time we come to a conclusion, uh, there is a lot that is involved, right? So one thing that can really happen is a preliminary report can be made available within that short time span to the authorities as the real impact unfolds over the next span of time. That can be updated to them on a dynamic basis, right, on a continuous basis. So I think, yeah, there are a lot of changes happening, some good, some still debatable, but yeah, change is good.
Yeah, so I mean, this you mentioned resilience, right? So we have this increased reporting pressure, these increasing time demands that are being debated for such a complex, difficult process. So it sounds like we need not only resilience in our security architecture in our approach to security, but also resilience in our workforce to handle this increased pressure and some relief from some of the innovative ways you mentioned to give us a little bit of relief to get a preliminary report out there and give us time to respond in a cohesive way. So although it's good that the reporting has increased and some of this demand for transparency is opening the eyes of what's happening in the industry, it increases the pressure on the workforce, and we need increased resiliency and more innovative ways to report. Did I get you correctly on that?
Yeah. But I would also like to add one more point, right? I just recalled. So during one of my discussion with some of the fellow CISOs, right? Some of them have smartly implemented automation, even in this case, right? That whatever incidents is happening, they're automatically collecting everything, and based on that, they're notifying the authorities automatically. So for them, the timeline really doesn't matter whether it is 6 hours or 72 hours. Every single time there's something that is reportable, they have automated that process. So some may be benefited if they are looking at automation and proper analytics in this space also, and some have implemented already, as of I know.
Yeah, technology and automation is such a powerful force multiplier for us to help us move faster, more agile in such a complex and difficult fight that we're in against cyber criminals and meeting our reporting requirements and our compliance requirements. Excellent point. Thank you for bringing that up, Deep. I think as we talk about this phenomenon of this increased attack surface, this increased reporting requirements, and the overall change in the dynamic of cybersecurity and its massive increase in how people are getting more aware of it and just the sheer volume of attacks that are happening, it's important to have the right kind of staff and the right kind of people in place with the right kind of skills. It kind of brings us to the next question here is, from your perspective, how important are IT certifications and which certifications do you view as the most valuable when you're building out your workforce? Maybe even you could share some comments and differences in India, Singapore, and Austria on that topic. Is that okay for you?
Yeah. So, in this constant challenge of skill shortage, I think, yeah, certification and any kind of education, proper education towards cybersecurity does play a valuable role. So yes, security certifications are important and certainly has a great value. However, to get the best value out of certifications, one really need to align the career path that they're choosing to do. Like, say, people following network-related certifications should follow or should choose the best network-based certifications, right? And likewise, right? So Another important factor is like certification. About certification is the integrity of how that certification is achieved by an individual. It does really matter in the long run. So yeah, I think, and for the next part of the question, like about location specific differences, uh, I believe most of the security certifications are not really location dependent, right? And unless there are any certifications that is focused on local country specific regulations and laws. Otherwise, I think the technical certifications are pretty much global.
No, that's an excellent point, Deep. Really appreciate you talking about that with us. Um, we kind of have this common skill sets across the globe, and we're fighting this common enemy. And you talked about this security talent shortfall that we have, and so it's kind of another question we have for you is, there's 3.5 million vacancies, I think, across the globe, according to some reports in cybersecurity. And
Yep.
so I'm just really interested, how do you attract and retain cybersecurity talent, and what other challenges do you see in the industry?
Yeah, so apart from all these statistics that we see on a daily basis regarding the skill shortage and location-specific skills shortage or global skill shortage statistics, uh, I feel that it's a demand and availability issue to start with, which may be one of the reasons that there are so many movement of professionals also from one place to another. So, and this is why it becomes crucial to think about how to retain those talents. But this is really easy, easy to say than do it. When it's onto you. So, I think to retain talent, there are multiple things that need to be followed, but there are top three things that I see is of value. Is one of them is that let the employee know, let the candidate know what the role is all about very clearly, right? There should not be any ambiguity in it, because often people get distracted with chaotic roles and bit of ambiguity in the role or in the role definition itself. The second is like keeping an eye on the market trend for the compensation, because market is very competitive. Uh, More the skill shortage, market will become really competitive at that time, right? So for the compensation, skill and experience level, some may debate about it, that it's not always about money, and yeah, maybe they're partially right. However, I think compensation does play crucial role in terms of retaining the talent in a case-to-case basis. And I think lastly, which I think is really important one, uh, empowering the role itself. So if the role oftentimes is, so I think I changed that. So empowering the role is important, but oftentimes the role is good, but money is also good. But then there is no say or scope of innovation in the role itself. So
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a lather rinse repeat type of a role, right, or a situation. So this might be a distraction to some. So people sometimes want to see the impact of the work they are doing, and if that is not visible, then it's really a challenge to keep the talent in that kind of a situation. So that's what I think.
Great points again, as always, Deep. This is such a global challenge we're facing, and I like how you distilled it to a simple demand and availability concept. Uh, and we just have trouble finding the availability that we need to meet that demand. And so, as you said, if it was easy, it would be done already, right? So it's very easy to say, hard to do type endeavor we're on. I like what you mentioned about opening up innovation and allowing people to be a bit more creative in these roles, which are already fairly nicely empowered. And you just sparked a question for me I'd like to ask you. So do you think that technology, innovation, automation, AI capabilities can help us reduce this manpower gap through automation capabilities? Or is that something different that you see in solving the skills gap problem? How do you view that?
It can solve some of the areas, but I don't think so. It will replace the individual as a person, right?
Right.
It will enhance the role, probably, right?
Yes. Yes.
The fatigue will be taken away. Now they can focus on some of the other crucial stuff that they're doing. So I think it will enhance rather than replace any individual. So it might help in reducing some of the low-level tasks. But will that help in terms of deal with the skill shortage? I personally doubt that.
Okay, that's a great point. Yeah, there's an ongoing debate about how technology can help in that engagement.
Yeah, it will help solve some of the mundane areas, no doubt about it, because there are a lot of repeat stuff that's happening. So obviously, automation AI can. I often use this term augmentation. So it will augment the job, to do it much better way.
Yeah, that's a great use of the word augmentation. Yeah, so you're augmenting what the skills that are already there to free them up for other highly intensive tasks, so that the lower tasks can be automated, like in the reporting example that you mentioned, right? So you can help speed up the reporting and make the reporting easier, so they can focus on more things than the automated piece of reporting. That's very nice. Thank you. You've been in so many different countries. Maybe the final question. So, do you see big difference in the challenges and opportunities across the countries? How do you view the international environment of cyber where we're fighting against a common enemy?
I think when it comes to cybersecurity, security is something which has to be seen as a global issue, or global thing, rather than a region specific. Yes, every region has their own problem to solve, no doubt about it, but that may just be the regulatory issues or the type of industries each country has. Some country has some industries which is their prime industry versus the other countries, right? So yeah, it may be a bit of that, but overall, if I look at cybersecurity, it's a common problem. It's something that has to be seen as a global thing rather than a very regional thing. So that's my point of view.
Now that's beautiful. So we have different countries, different political environments, different cultures that we live in, but we have a shared enemy, and we can do a shared response because an attack is an attack, right? So
yes,
yeah, that's really great. So thank you.
Yeah, I think during one of our past conversations, you did mention one point which is very crucial. A bullet is a bullet.
A bullet is a bullet, right? A bullet is a bullet, and a shield is a shield, right? So it doesn't matter where you stand. Yeah, that's very nice. Thank you for reminding me of that. So Deep, I really enjoyed this dialogue and this time together with you. It's been very insightful and very interesting. It's clear that your insights, your international perspective, and your deep technical knowledge are very valuable assets to this joint fight that we're in against cybercrime. And so thank you so much for this time together. To everybody out there watching, just a quick word before we go. Hayes has launched a global cyber survey about security, about cybersecurity. And we really value your insights and your input. Our goal is to provide a broad market perspective for cyber leaders around the world on very interesting topics. Topics like cyber threats, skill shortages, hiring trends, and more. To see this common picture we just heard Deep talk about. These findings will give you trends, priorities across industries, and shared challenges we all face. And so if you want to participate in the survey, just follow the link in this post that's going to come out. And also at the end of the video, there'll be a URL for you to follow. So Deep, thank you once again so much for spending time with us today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, Michael. It was really a pleasure to talk to you today.
Thank you so much. So to all of our viewers out there, we hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions at all or want to hear more, feel free to post a question or reach out, contact me on LinkedIn, connect to Deep and read his wonderful articles and his publications to really open your eyes and your mind. Stay safe out there and keep contributing to our joint fight against cybercrime. And we'll see all of you around the digital neighborhood. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.